on his in the park. He sprayed it while he did today. We were set out against storm and rain. By the way, man, that's a cool stuff. Everyone was good. Why do you not believe it is? Well, it's good afternoon. Yeah. Welcome to Beavercreek Rotary. Here's your mind. Go ahead and lay down on stopping for me. Yeah, Saturday. Another great day. Yeah, we're on this side of the dirt. Nickel thanking the man who makes that possible. I clearly like fun up there. Oh, that's I'm sorry about that. Yes. Thanks, dude. Oh, good afternoon. Would you please join me in prayer? Blessed are you, Lord of creation. You feed the whole world with your goodness and grace. Your kindness and your mercy. You nourish and sustain us and do us good of all. Bless this food for our use and for us for your rotary service. Amen. 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 Thank you, guys. Yeah. Stop. Yeah, very sir. We are running at 69% today. On through the water, we have a few guests. So, gonna call you out. David Hayes in the back, and Amanda. Hi, David. And there's Stephanie's husband, Paul. You know, go ahead and you got to figure out. So, well, I'm not secret as well. All right. Chris, you ready, sir? Back from a lot of time. Yeah. Did you get see any of the volcanoes or?
Not active, but we did hike a couple, which is all that. There it is. Yeah. I know it's been a while, so I wasn't going to hold it against everyone. But hello again, good afternoon, fellow Rotarians, and hello again to all of our guests and our awesome speakers who will be up here shortly. And welcome again to the Rotary Club of Beavercreek, and happy National Ding-a-Ling Day. For those who are wondering, National Ding-a-Ling Day quote is all about the idea of connecting with family members or friends, particularly those who are spent some time since chatting, therefore making the connection that ding-a-ling is the sound of a bell ringing from a phone. I don't know about you, but my phone does not go ding-a-ling, so I unfortunately will be not partaking in this because this started back in 1972, which was before my time. So moving on to birthdays and anniversaries. Only one birthday coming up. We have Mick Lundy celebrating a birthday on the 17th. Some member anniversaries. We did miss one or two since I was gone. We have Dave Happy and Carrie Souders, both celebrating 32 years on the 1st of this month. And then Fran will be celebrating get my days right. Tomorrow, Fran will be celebrating 29 years with us. A few good things that happened today on this day in history. Going back to 1946, the United Nations accepted John D. Rockefeller Jr.'s gift of a 4-block tract of Manhattan real estate that was set to become the site of the UN headquarters. The Rockefeller donation of $8.5 million for the East River site is roughly about $74 million if we take into consideration inflation at this day and age. Moving on to 1950, Paula Ackerman became the first woman rabbi in the U.S. And then not too long ago, in 2015, 20 women won municipal court seats in a landmark election. This was the first time females were allowed to run for public office in Saudi Arabia. And this is also the first election which they could also vote in. So it's glad to see that they got up to date with times. And then another fun fact, 2 years after this, women were finally allowed to drive over to Saudi Arabia. If your football team did not do too well this past weekend, I got some good stats that might help cheer you up. So the Washington Commanders are the first team since the 1992 Browns to be shut out by a team that just got shut out by themselves. And also a fun fact about the Commanders have not shut out a team since 1991. The Jets now currently own the longest playoff drought in all four major sports. Since the start of this streak, they have gone through 23 starting quarterbacks, which is kind of on par with the Browns. Also, the Jets are now the only team who has not led by 10 or more points at any point on offense this season. Bengals and Browns fans, good news for you. You'll be happy to hear that Lamar Jackson has only had one touchdown in the month of November. And then a fun statistical fact here: Jalen Hurts had a 5 turnover game, doing so on just 4 plays, thanks to him throwing an interception, then recovering a fumble, only for him to fumble it back to the defense. And to end on a good note, this is definitely for JD. The Illinois Fighting Illini currently have the 22nd ranked recruiting class for next year. And right behind them is the powerhouse known as Virginia Tech. And I can say powerhouse since they are 5 spots ahead of the current #1 team in college football. And I didn't put who the #1 team is. Did anyone get the update on who's #1 right now?
Indiana.
Indiana.
Yeah.
All right, some fun things to celebrate coming up. Tomorrow we have, most importantly, the U.S. National Guard's birthday, along with National Cocoa Day. Sunday, for all of you that enjoy yelling out Roll Tide, you'll be happy to know that Sunday is National Alabama Day. Also Monkey Around Day, so enjoy yelling out Roll Tide randomly. Monday is Bill of Rights Day, and then for all those who can do the impossible, you can celebrate National Cat Herders Day. Tuesday, we have National Chocolate Covered Anything Day, which should be every day. We also have Stupid Toy Day, which is perfect for the holidays. Wednesday, we have the Wright Brothers Day, along with National Device Appreciation Day, which I think we all appreciate all of our devices every day. Thursday is a fun one. We got Wear a Plunger on Your Head Day, and also National Regifting Day for all those who have presents early that don't want to keep them for the holidays. Some fun things to do this upcoming week. Not a lot, and I'm sure this will get announced again. But tonight from 5 to 8, we have a winter welcome. Definitely stop by and check out the cabin that our team put together and decorated in very warm weather. Then for some Beavercreek School awesomeness, not a lot going on. Winter sports is kind of slow right now, but women's varsity basketball beat Miamisburg and Northmont, and then unfortunately lost to Bellbrook. And men's varsity basketball lost to Miamisburg. We have women's JV basketball beating Miamisburg. Women's varsity bowling remains undefeated after beating Wayne and Fairmont and winning the Big Blue tournament. The men's varsity bowling team also won the Big Blue tournament and had a student as the individual tournament champion, with one of his games being a 299, which if you've ever bowled and had a 299, you know how many cuss words come flying out of your mouth for that one pin. Just looking back, that's really a perfect game. So I didn't get to see it, but if he didn't butter some words, I think he gets a pass on that because that's not fair. But then they also went on to beat Fairmont and are now currently 3-1 for the season. Both the men and women's JV bowling teams are undefeated after beating Wayne and Fairmont. Varsity hockey beat Alter in a shootout after 2 overtimes. Women's wrestling team had a wrestler place 2nd, 5th, and 2 6th-place finishes at the Westfall Invitational. Men's wrestling did not fare as well as the women as they competed against the 1st and 5th ranked team in the state. And now for our favorite part, today's fines. If you're not wearing your badge, that is $1. I'm going to skip that if you're late, and that has nothing to do with one of my counterparts coming in late, he's still being on probation and want to stay in the good graces of the company. But you have checked your electronic device during my brilliant presentation. That'll be $1. But seeing how everyone had their eyes glued on me and definitely did not check their phone, I got to do one more to bring some money in for our projects here. So if your favorite football team did not fire their head coach for doing something completely illegal, that'll be $1. Okay. Be careful.
Thank you. For me, to start debating, I did not, is this thing on? Yeah, okay.
I did not thank Dave for spending in for me last Friday. As he said at the meeting, I was hunting Bambi. Mother of his mom. And, I'm sure you're all happy to hear that Bambi's gonna be free on the hook for another year. Some reason she didn't want to be hard. Go figure. Special announcements. Anybody have any special announcements?
We got Happy Bucks or Happy Bucks?
When did it? Okay, that's right. Oh, good. Happy Bucks. We got Happy Bucks.
I got them.
All right.
Chris announced a lot of the important days coming up, holidays midweek, but today is my daughter's 16th birthday.
Oh, yeah, where else?
Rose,
I'm saying outside of my.
yeah, but she thought the 2 hour delay today was in honor of her birthday.
Parents. I got fine. The sergeant, who covered Beavercreek sports, but he forgot to cover Beavercreek swimming.
Ooh,
Uh,
they didn't have it on their Twitter.
They got it here. Link, we have a swimmer that swims for Beavercreek in our club, who swims really well for Beavercreek. I think he'd be plenty. Right? How many firsts did you get yet last week? Work. Oh, a lot of those. Where's it?
Further that you got first place out.
I mean, one of them was. Green?
Yeah, so that's the 18 swimmers. Yeah.
No, more.
Was it more than 18?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's impressive. Very impressive.
Well, I will throw in $4 for the first place that I've been aware.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Any other Happy Bucks? Yeah, awesome.
It's a lot. Our starter airman of the year, 170 at Springfield Air National Guard, that was 6 other bases. So not just for group, not just the quarter, but an annual award winner. So she'll go on to Mansfield later this winter to compete on the state level. So we're super excited, and all 4 of the kids become this. Yeah.
Anybody else? No other Happy Bucks? Well, special announcements. I'm gonna stick that in there. Next Friday. If you've got a ugly sweater for Christmas. We want to have an ugly sweater day. Find the ugliest or make her the ugliest or. However you want to do it. If you got one, wear it.
For the meeting, yeah.
Pardon me?
For the meeting, yeah.
Oh, yes, for the meeting. Oh, you work to the meeting.
That's right, nice.
Oh, thank you. Last 3 numbers are 997.
Okay, that's right.
I don't know, man.
Cities are sort of actually do because.
I know.
It's like, we're not. It's a thousand years. 7.2. Science, Saturn. Yeah. I'm not exactly.
So if you win, there will be an accurate count today.
Nice one. Really sweet. Secret.
One. Oh,
My girl.
yes.
Well, one reminder by next Saturday, the 20th, is when we'll be doing the Christmas basket delivery to all the families that need assistance. Will be at Doc's by 8 a.m.
8:30. If you want to load 8,
Picture.
I'll send out an email.
Come on, good. Earlier is better. Earlier better.
Would that help load it? First 8 a.m. would be about 8:30 if you're going to be just doing a delivery. You start getting a line at 8:30.
All right, thank you.
Wow, sleeping.
I know you're all wondering, I don't think days, so it's 223 days to Halloween. You know, you all wondering. Mark. Are you gonna introduce our speaker?
No.
Good, okay, sorry.
Thank you for the offer.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for having us here today. My name is Mark Thomas. A lot of you, some of you may remember I was the former fire chief of Beavercreek Fire Department, and that was my passion for a lot of years. And after that, I became passionate about sport fosterability. I'd like to introduce Jennifer Lutz. She's the CEO of Sport Foster. She's going to tell you all about it.
Yeah, that's actually.
She has her dog Planet.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me today. I'm also really passionate about 4 Paws. It's been
Eric's friends then.
it's been a big part of my life for many years. 4 Paws was founded in 1998, and I got started with it a couple years after I started. So I have been part of the organization for over 25 years. It has been an amazing experience. So my name is Jennifer, as Mark mentioned. I'm the executive director at 4 Paws for Ability. And so it's been my privilege to be able to work with so many dogs and teams to be able to support families that are local to our area, but also all across our country. If you're less interested in who I am and more interested in who this is. This is Planet. She is a golden retriever lab mix. She's a year and a half old. She's actually in advanced training right now. And advanced training is a stage when they're learning specific skills for their future partner. And so she's working towards a placement, a young woman that has seizures. And Planet has an amazing nose. And the dogs have been using their noses throughout time and just have utilized that in many ways, whether it's the military or it's service dogs, or there's so many different ways that dogs have effectively utilized this strength. And so she's able to use her nose to smell the scent of a seizure. And she's able to do a bark alert when she smells a seizure to alert those around this individual so that that person is able to receive the support she needs. And that is really just a really big piece of independence for this young lady. This actually allows her to be able to go to college and live a more independent life by having a tool and a resource and a friend. So I just wanted to share a little bit about 4 Paws for Ability, our organization. It's right in all of our backyard. We're in Xenia, so it's only about less than 15 minutes from here. So really local. If you haven't heard about us, we would love to give you a tour, share information about our program. At 4 Paws, we breed, raise, train, and place the service dogs. And so many people don't realize how much has really evolved to have a dog get to the point of being just a little baby who is born without their eyes open, their ears still closed, to the point where they're a dog like Planet who's ready to serve a person for the rest of her life. So 4 Paws, though, when we were founded, our mission is to enrich the lives of people with disabilities through the placement of life-changing service dogs. And our founder's reason for starting 4 Paws really came out of her own need. She has a disability and she was seeking a service dog for herself, and she was turned down from so many organizations, agencies, that she ended up training her own dog to be a service dog. And she wondered how many other people like her are out there and would benefit from a service dog, but aren't able to truly access the support that a service dog can bring. So when she started 4 Paws, it was with this idea of being able to meet the needs that aren't currently being met. What that quickly became, though, was children with disabilities. A lot of people at that time were really thinking that a service dog could only be effective with an adult. They had to be independent with the dog. And we were having families come to our organization with children to say, hey, my child's 8 years old. I don't know if they're going to live enough to turn 18 and be able to receive a service dog. So 4 Paws really founded this concept of a 3-unit team, where there's a parent that can handle the dog, but that the dog is there and supporting the benefit of that child, supporting their needs. And that was so groundbreaking. Can sound right now, because of what organizations are, it may not sound as I guess groundbreaking at this point, but at that time it was huge. And so we really had an opportunity to not only help families in the local area, but we still have a strong reputation that brings families from the United States to come to Xenia, Beavercreek area. A lot of our families stay in Beavercreek when they're coming to classes to learn how to work with their service dog. A couple of months now. Before her, I worked with a golden retriever named Ripple. He's a seizure alert dog in Boston. Or that was a dog named Pippin. He's in San Diego, California. Another dog in Texas. So they really go so many places. And a dog isn't just there for a moment. They're really there intervening in really a critical time period. A lot of the kids we work with, 7, 8, 9 years old, really starting these critical developmental years and having a dog by their side through their childhood really sets the stage really for a great start for their adult life. So it's been really a privilege to work with Four Paws, and at Four Paws, because we breed, raise, train the dogs, our program starts actually even before the dogs are born. So we have dogs that are our mom dogs and our dad dogs that then have these puppies, and the puppies start their training with our program when they're just 3 days old. So really, really little. And we're working with them on early foundational goals, which is different sights that they're going to see, sounds that they're going to hear, experiences that they'll need to be able to be prepared for as a service dog. They're part of our puppy enrichment program until they're about 8 to 10 weeks old. And then they go out with volunteers, just regular people. I know you guys probably volunteer in many ways. And so volunteers like you guys come to Four Paws and might volunteer on site, or they volunteer to raise a puppy. And so they take the puppy into the home, and a lot of that's basic. If you've had dogs before, it's manners, it's potty training, it's basic obedience. Thing that sets these guys apart is we're actually wanting them to work in public places. So if you guys have been out and about in the community, maybe you've seen some of our dogs in training with their volunteers. They have their little vest on. And so those dogs, even at those young ages, we're working to expose them to things like going to school if they're with a college student, or maybe they're with a teacher and they can spend some time in a classroom, or going to church, or going to kids' assembly halls, or going out grocery shopping. Normal activities of daily life that are really critical for a dog to be trained and used to being able to perform in. Dogs have evaluations throughout the process. And as you can probably imagine, not every dog that starts a program ends up graduating as a service dog. So the dogs that do graduate, they're very special. They're also pretty unique in the tasks that they can provide and their personality. Dogs that are released from the program are typically released for pretty basic dog things. Maybe they say they bark too much. You kind of think, well, how would you define a dog? It barks. So for us, we want to make sure that a dog is quiet in public places, is really adaptable to a changing environment. And so dogs, that's just not them. And so at a 6-month evaluation, 12-month evaluations, our training team can assess the dogs and determine who's kind of on track. What can we do to help them get on track? But then also, if they're not going to be the right fit for a service dog, that's okay. We can go ahead and adopt them out. And we call them our fabulous flunkies. They're typically adopted actually by the volunteers that raise them. They think, how do I get a fabulous flunky? Try volunteering. We love that. And so the fabulous flunkies end up having wonderful lives, just like the service dogs do as well. So the nice thing within the program is as we work with the dogs, that we know that each dog is going to have a meaningful and impactful life, whether they're a best friend to a family or a working service dog with their partner. At Four Paws, we're also unique in that we are looking for ways that we can really customize the dog's training to the specific person. Every person's unique, every child's unique. So even a child that has the same disability as another child, one child has autism, another child has autism. Autism actually exists on a spectrum. So that can look very, very different for different children. So our process is actually working with the family to learn, hey, what are the specific challenges that this child is experiencing? And then we assign or align those with tasks and support members. So a service dog can be trained to do behavior intervention, could do search and rescue, but also we want them to know, hey, when this child gets overwhelmed, this child wants to hide underneath the bed, and we need the dog to be comfortable going to bed. Or this child is rocking in a corner. We need the dog to recognize that looks like overstimulated behavior for that child. I did want to share just a quote from one of our graduating teams. We also work with local veterans, and so we had a recent placement. And so just wanted to read what he said at graduation, because I think it really highlights the challenges that individuals face on a daily basis, and really when you have the support of a service dog, how that intervention, that support can really be a changing point in their story. So my name is EJ Thomas. I served in the U.S. Army for 4 years. I stand here with Silo by my side. This moment for me is about more than just completing a program. This is about standing here after some of the hardest battles of my life and saying, I'm still fighting. When I came to Four Paws, I wasn't just looking for a service dog. I was looking for a lifeline. Silo pulled me back from the darkness. He doesn't judge me or question my petals. He just shows up and helps me get through the day. And I think when we imagine a service dog, often we think about the big things that they might do, like, oh, that dog's going to open that door, or they're going to find that missing child. But when you think about each and every moment that that person is facing and how that dog is able to, in those moments, come alongside, that they're not alone anymore. And for many people, especially children with these types of disabilities, it can be hard to make friends. It could be hard to have their behaviors be accepted by their peers. And so many people say that the service dog becomes your child's first best friend. That's a little bit about Four Paws in a nutshell, but I would love to hear from you guys, questions you guys might have.
How many dogs, are usually going through the program at one time?
So we have about 350 dogs from puppy to placement, that they're not all on site. Actually, most of them aren't. They're actually out with volunteers. We have another set of dogs, about 80 dogs that are part of our breeding program, the mom dogs and the dad dogs. So they live their whole lives out with the family, and they only come to Four Paws when they're actually breeding. We have a vet department at Four Paws as well, so we're able to provide for the veterinary care of the dog's needs. So the dogs will often be coming back to the organization throughout the time period as they're going to get their vaccines. We provide food and supplies to volunteers, so they're coming to the organization to receive that support as well. We place about 120 service dogs every year. On average, we have about 250 puppies born in a year. So it's definitely, there's a lot. There's a lot that if you come to Four Paws, there's definitely often more than as people imagine, like, oh, that's a lot of dogs. That's a lot of support that's needed, honestly. If you think about how many volunteers it takes to work with the dogs at the facility, and how many dogs are being raised out of homes. Of that, we 250 dogs are out with volunteers, and about 2/3 of those are college students. Our biggest campuses are University of Kentucky and Ohio State University, but we have about over 20 campuses that we partner with the students that are working with the dogs and helping to raise them, and they do an excellent job with the dogs. There's definitely a lot of ways that people could get involved. There's just, as a combination, people can spend as much as time to raise a dog. That's obviously more time intensive. But then also we have a lot of on-site roles as well. We call them bath buddy, coming in and bathing a dog for an hour, or taking them for a walk. It's called field friend. We also have, each dog actually represents a cost of almost $40,000. So that process to breed, raise, train, and place the dogs doesn't come very cheap. Hello. She wants to know utility. The student doesn't come that affordably to So we really depend on the support of our community. So we have different ways. We have corporations that may sponsor litters. We have individuals that may sponsor puppies on a monthly basis. And so for $25 a month, you can be paired with a dog, and you receive monthly updates about that dog on your dream to become a service dog, and they're invited to their graduation. So there's lots of ways to kind of get involved.
Yeah, I just wanted to plug your puppy playtime. So we did that as a company, and like you think like we're really helping playing with the puppy, but you really are, because they need to meet lots of people, and gosh, you have to really fall on a sword and play with the puppy. It's just terrible. Right? It's just awful. But anyway, we did it with some of the kids of our families too. And anyway, if you need there's probably no availability, but you should sign up to do it. It's a lot of money.
There is, yeah. We have the corporations will sometimes do it as like a team build day where they'll come and they'll volunteer, and they'll volunteer with the puppies as well. Sometimes it's like a corporation visit, but also there's lots. So we have so many ways to get involved, whether it's individual or corporation, or, I think I have an 8-year-old and 10-year-old children and dogs as well. But you think about just our community and what we're telling that next generation and what we're showing them through our actions about the important things in our lives, and how whether you volunteer by helping people get the food they need for the holidays, or you're helping people with housing, or there's so many different needs that are out there. So you're probably involved in a lot of different things, but if you're interested in poor prosperability, I would love to. Oh, yeah.
So I am always amazed when I hear about specialty trained dogs. I mean, because I have such a hard time just training my dog to it's particular dog with smell, seizure. I mean, how does that training take place? What are the steps that you go through when the dog learns how to do that? It's mind blowing.
It really is, because they're capable of doing so many things, dogs. And it's really been the last, couple decades that it's really exploded all the different things that dogs have been able to be trained to do. Because historically people have known about guide dogs, or they see dogs in the military, dogs that do search and rescue, so using their nose to find like people, and they can follow a scent trail. So for us, when we're doing a seizure alert dog, I'm actually using scent from a child that had a seizure. So a scent article, something they're wearing when they had a seizure. And then we're training the dog to recognize that scent, to then find that scent, and then do a bark alert for a scent. The reason our organization does a bark alert rather than a more passive alert, like just a paw on somebody or like a nose bump, is because we do work with children. And when we picture some of the concerns that families will come to us with, is there's a really big challenge around children that fall asleep, have a seizure in the middle of the night, and never wake up again. That's a concern. Parents are like, oh my goodness, what if they have a seizure in the middle of the night? And so by the dog being there in the bed with the child and able to do a bark alert, instead of it being a passive alert, we actually want it to be a more active alert, because we want someone in another room to wake up and be able to attend to a child's needs. So it's kind of like a multi-step process. We do it all in positive training. We want Planet to enjoy this. There's no one making her do this. We want her to think this is the best game in the world, and how can I be part of it? Because at 2 o'clock in the morning, if you want to wake up, or if you believe you have to, that's going to be 2 different responses. So we want her to want it. We want her to really have a close bond with a child that, in her case, that she's working for. So that way it's relationship driven rather than just like just a job. For her, it's her life really.
So the body emits a different scent during a seizure?
Correct. Yeah. And it's what's amazing about it is, we can't smell anything that would be different from somebody, because often the dogs, when they're doing that alert, they can even smell before it happened. So the dogs have such a sensitive nose that they can tell that a seizure is coming on, that your body is being changed before. Like some people have an aura when they have a seizure, they kind of get a sense that they're about to have a seizure, then they might be able to sit down. But epilepsy can look a lot of different ways. And so sometimes the seizure isn't like a tonic-clonic where your body is shaking. There can be absent seizures. There can be many different types. And so because we do it scent-based, it's less reliant on, oh, that person, their eyes roll back. Well, that's a really subtle sign to a dog. They're not really looking at someone's eyes all the time, but their noses are always on. So their noses can pick up those scent changes much quicker than some of those visual differences that some people might have. Yes.
Some breeds of dogs have better scent, better noses than others. I mean, they're better candidates for this.
I would say some dogs are more easily adapted to service dog work. Not to say their noses though. Dogs as creatures, they as a whole, you can have small dogs with awesome noses to the biggest dogs. They all have like a really good sense of smell. The reason we have dogs like Planet, who is the lab golden retriever mix, which is the most common placement that Vorpals does, but also across service dog organizations across the country. This is the most common combination. For us, it really comes down to confidence in public places, adaptability that is children don't always children take patience at times, and children also take patience from the dogs. At times they may exhibit behaviors that aren't really common for like an adult. So we want a dog that is going to be comfortable and adaptable. We also will say, size wise, Planet is tall enough to hit a light switch, but small enough to fit in an airplane. So we want a dog that is versatile, our program. So, when we think about, like pulling a wheelchair, you have to have some size to you to be able to do that or provide some mobility support. But the dogs are going to school, they're riding in the car. When we think about flying on an airplane, that tiny space in front of us, that's where service dogs have to sit. So it's, it doesn't always work really well to have a very, very large dog, even though they might have a great nose. We have at times used the smaller breeds, but because our program primarily works with children with autism, some different types of behavior aspects, how they're interacting with the dog, a dog like Planet is going to be able to handle that better than like a really small dog. That's a good question though. Dogs are smart in general. Yeah.
You take donations, like bags of dog food or something like that for the dogs at the center?
We do. There's a lot of, so we accept a lot of different types of supplies, things like Kongs, I would say peanut butter, Nylabones. So I would say those are kind of the more common one. If you have a bag of dog food that's open, we might not be able to use it. And also the dogs are on a specific diet. So the type of dog food that we utilize might be different than the type of dog food that you might have. Though we'll often like use it as treats just because for a dog like Planet, something that's different, she's gonna think it's a treat. So we might even use a bag of dog food that is unopened as like a bag of treats, and then they use like small amounts of the treats for the dogs.
So I was kind of figuring that they might need a special diet.
And also newspapers, she doesn't eat newspapers, but because we're raising puppies, you guys paper and you end up with like, you can recycle it or you can bring it to Fort Buzz and we can recycle it and just put it on their pens. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about how dogs work with children with autism? Absolutely. So because it's a spectrum disorder, it can look a lot. There's a lot of different ways that they can provide support. So we have children with autism that have elopement behavior, meaning that they wander away, they can get lost. Families have 16 locks on their door to try to keep their kids safe, and kids can be very seen to do like a search and rescue task or like tracking. So similar to like a regular search and rescue dog, we picture 911, a dog that's looking for human scent. These dogs, if they're trained for that specific task, they actually know their partner scent. And so when they're told to search for somebody, they know I'm looking for my buddy, I'm looking for my child. And so the dogs will be able to differentiate as opposed to all the other scents. Because as we move about life, we're actually losing skin cells. Fortunately, we're not seeing them, but we're actually losing skin cells. And dogs can smell that as they are, and they basically leave a path. So even as we're standing in here, it's kind of gross to think about. But as we're standing here, a dog can actually figure out, oh, you walked over here, and each one of us have our own unique scent. So it's not even just like when you have a seizure, you have your own unique scent. Dogs know your scent, and often dogs, because they're so geared into your scent, if you come up to your dog, they probably smell you first thing before they see you, and that's how they actually understand the world is through scent. So the dogs can quickly find a child that's lost, and we've had so many different stories where children have gone out in the snow, no coat, no shoes, and the parents realize they're missing, and the dogs find them in minutes instead of hours, and then something tragic could have happened to that child. Unfortunately, a lot of children seem to be drawn to water without an ability to swim. And so you hear these super sad stories of just tragedies that occur because the kids got lost and they went to a body of water and they tabled them. So the search and rescue dog, it's really a life-saving tool. It's not just like, oh, it's so cute, wouldn't it be great to have a dog? It's a really life-saving tool. You think of this as a child that is experiencing this level of critical need and danger on such a regular basis. But not every child has elopement behavior. Autism looks again a lot of different ways. So it can be being overstimulated. It can be a lot of sensory aspects. It can be hard to go out in public for some children with autism. It can be really safe for them to go out in public. And then what happens is the entire family really isn't able to go out in public or take part in other activities, or they have to divide, and they're like, mom's gonna stay home and dad can go out, because it's not gonna be a good fit for all of the kids in the family. So having the service dog as that support, the child is then able to more safely go out in public, and if the child is overwhelmed, the dogs will do different things like deep pressure. That's like laying across a child's chest or laying across their lap to provide that deep pressure sensation, and that can be really helpful to children with autism. Can also be behavior intervention. So if the child starts stemming, it could look like kind of moving their hands to the side or saying the same thing over and over and over again and kind of getting overwhelmed. The dog can go up, kind of bump their leg, nuzzle their arm, and do that redirection. And so even some of those really subtle things can be really helpful for the kids. What is some of the main things?
I'll just make a general comment that thankful that at River Valley we can partner with you guys.
Yes.
You guys have been awesome for us. For teaching our team to serve. In what better way? Obviously the puppy time. Please sit in paper. We go through a lot of it at puppy playtime.
Yes.
Then also able to wash the dogs as well as clean the area for families that travel so far for the graduation, which is an emotional.
Which, and it's such a perfect plug, because we have graduation today at 3 o'clock. So if you guys happen to be free and you're like, hey, I can be in the Xenia area at 3 o'clock. Graduation is so meaningful. And as someone who I volunteer as well as work at Four Paws, many people often say, well, I couldn't do that. I couldn't give the dogs up. And we're not, I promise, a group of heartless people. That we know that when you're raising these dogs, you're raising them with the idea they're for somebody else. It isn't my dog. It is for somebody else. And graduation is a really perfect time to be able to hear from the families that are graduating and see, oh, this is why. This is all the money that we've raised or the effort that we've put in, the sadness that we feel can be replaced with the joy that this dog is there making that difference for this person. Great graduation. And thank you guys. Beavercreek has been amazing for Four Paws. There is so much support here from the businesses, but also the individuals who come out, volunteer every single day, and really support the organization. So we're just so thankful for you guys.
I'll make the offer that if this group or anybody in this group wants to take a tour, I'll have somebody set it up. I can do the tour, or somebody at Four Paws can do the tour and show you how the operation works. We can show you how the buildings were built and all the scent tubes and all the neat little things we put in the building so that these dogs succeed. So,
I think Chris had a question too.
So mine was a question always. I may be living under a pet law, and I've never heard a dog named Planet, which I think is phenomenal. Do you ever had a dog name that very unique, but that's one of those personality, or it's a kid, it's fine, it's just blown, like regardless of the name or no?
So we have to have a lot of unique names. When you think about that many dogs, they can't all be anybody. It would be very, very Any dog has also been placed in the 2000 service dog teams. We won't use those names either. So you have to get pretty creative, which means sometimes we might name a dog a name as a puppy, and then they go to their placement, and it's not something the child can say, or the dog needs to have their name changed, and that's okay. Planet is from, yes, I'm talking about you. She's from the Fresh Pet litter. So Fresh Pet is a company that actually donates to Four Paws, but provides, in the Kroger, they provide fresh dog food. And so their mission is Pets, Planet, People. And so she's actually named after their mission. But some of the siblings that she has in Carrot is one of them. I would say the interesting names, we have a dog that's graduating next month, and his name is Doofenshmirtz.
Oh,
And so it could be Doofenshmirtz.
I'll stay here all day. I think one of the things that this organization can do is actually sponsor litter. So if you're interested in sponsoring a litter, and at Four Paws, you can do that, and you guys can name the dogs.
Really, oh, man, it's very much.
I'm walking up and this is have a dog listen, you see me around most of the time with a dog, and some of Calvin and he's a friend was walking and. Oh, I love it. See, that's not. What about his father? Don't very called back. And we've got a book. So, we donated a book, for each one of our speakers. This is gonna be a loud winner's nap. And, we'll have you sign the book, and I'll give it back to Beth, and we give it to the Beavercreek Library. So they can check it.
Is there a specific place?
Yes, on the front something here. That anybody goes to the library can check it out. And it's great there, it's where is it? First, we get a picture.
Yes.
You may call her back up.
Yeah. I'm learning camera shot. Why don't you get your good side there? There you go. Thank you for coming here today and giving us all that information. It is amazing how a dog can smell somebody having a seizure.
Yeah.
Or diabetic, if they're starting to go down, the dog can pick up that scent. And it's amazing.
It definitely is.
Thank you. If anybody is going to Warren Church Park tonight, we have to be ready to roll or ready to go for customers, not customers, but patrons coming around at 4:45. So we're gonna get there ready, I don't know, half an hour early, 45 minutes early, something like that. And we don't have a lot to set up, but we do want to set up what you've got. 6:10. So next Friday is our last meeting for the year. Because the way Christmas falls and New Year's falls, give you a couple weeks off. All right. Is there anything else to bring up? No? Yeah,
You told Beth that you were gonna pay your donation for the holiday baskets by check. Please bring it next week so I can get it into our credit union account, so I can pay with it. If I check, I don't count it until it shows up. Which means if you get it to me after next Friday, it'll be next year's money.
Anything else? You all right with the place we're leaving, please? I'm pledging allegiance to the flag, States of America, to the republic with the stands, one nation, liberty, justice for all. And that one.
Gives me a hard time.
Huh?
It gives you a hard time? No, yeah.
So it's someone to make sure work out.
Oh, you just disconnected me. Okay.
Trying to know but I'm not.
I wondered why the microphone disappeared.